I would like to see what this person is saying. Around 22. Oh, ew. It's a Rumble link. Ew. Ew. I can't believe I'm clicking on a Rumble. I feel dirty.
By virtue of Sanders and AOC do that same thing. His name is Hasan Piker. He is a very popular person on Twitch, which is the Amazon-owned streaming and gaming site. He first came to prominence, if you can call it that, because he's the nephew of Cenk Uygur, the host of...
If you can call it that? Oh, he's like still dissing me. He's like, if you can call it prominence. It's like, okay, why are you talking about me then? I agree. I am not a prominent figurehead in any fucking movement. So why the fuck are you covering me then, you fucking weirdo? What a loser. He's literally like, he's negging me, dude. He said Cenk Uygur, by the way, which is like, I've never heard that. That is the most creative way to fucking...
Of the Young Turks. He's Cenk's nephew. But he's now built a large audience that listens to him talk about left-wing politics. And I put that in scare quotes because at the end of the day, it's really just a way of herding people into the Democratic Party. And he has become extremely rich by virtue of his popularity on Twitch. And not only extremely rich, but he lives a life of gluttonous capitalistic consumption. At the same time that he constantly condemns other people for being capitalists, he claims to be a socialist. And the question, of course, is whether there's an inconsistency between...
Guys, this man is an award-winning journalist. This man is an award-winning journalist, okay? I don't know what to say. Like, I grew up looking up to this man. That is crazy to me. Oh my God. It's like brainworms, dude. His entire argument is socialism when poor Lamau. That's it. He's like, dude, it's really fucked up. It's really fucked up that Hasan has made a lot of money while preaching about socialism. He's not living his values. Let's hear what else.
The way in which he lives his life through extreme amounts of luxurious material wealth on the one hand, and his demands that society become more socialistic on the other. Just like John Kerry flies to conferences to yell at everybody about climate change, but then flies on a private jet, or the people who Davos do.
Wait, he's saying John Kerry flying to Davos in a private jet is just like me owning a house in California, Los Angeles, where the housing market is absolutely fucked, and having a Porsche that I leased. I could have bought outright, but still. This is the same thing. Like, I'm ruining, because I'm saying, like, no one should have a house, famously. Like, that's my argument. My argument is, like, home ownership should be not a thing that anyone can have. Everyone should be living in cardboard boxes. This is what I advocate for. No nice things, no luxurious items for you. Never. We need to live this rugged life, this Spartan lifestyle.
Or Robert Reich doing the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. So let's look first at his at this inconsistency that...
Bro, he has... What is going on, dude? This is awesome. I love this guy, bro. Yo, his entire brother. My man is going. He went from working with like actual whistleblowers to doing a collage of tweets. This is crazy, dude. Which one of your aunties put this together for him? You know what's crazy? I think he's the auntie. He's the one who put this together.
Seems to be pretty evident. Here you see the headline from April of last year from Insider. The headline there is, leftist political commentator Hasan Piker faces criticism for buying a nearly $3 million home in Los Angeles County. Now, obviously, the criticism isn't that he bought a home. Everybody needs a home. Everybody needs a place to live. You shouldn't be expected to have to live on the street. The question is...
Wait. Wait, this is like really wild because didn't this motherfucker literally live in a mansion in Brazil, like in a compound? Like he got a puff piece written by the New York Times back in the day about his like compound that he has in Brazil. I don't know how much it was, but don't get it. Is Glenn arguing that he is to your left? Oh, fuck. I forgot. It doesn't matter how much it is. I went to Google and I typed in create a pie chart and I ended up with an online pie chart maker, probably intended for first graders, he said. I mentioned that he now works for a digital news site that has a $250 million endowment from Pierre Omidyar and some very talented data journalists and graphic artists. Also, it's that's funny. You buying a place that would go for 400 to 700K elsewhere, opulent. Glenn living in a compound in Brazil, living in socialistic poverty. Yeah. So, a question I have for Glenn, I guess, is this. If, like he mentioned, I am not a prominent figure, why did he choose to, in the same breath, dedicate an entire segment with collages about my home purchases and you know what car I drive or whatever? Like, if I'm just like some rando, which I think I am, okay, why did he then follow on with this like unhinged ass rant?
If somebody is so wealthy and uses their wealth for this kind of extreme.
I wonder if Glenn Greenwald's objective and unbiased coverage will showcase the numerous, if you consider to be charity to be like some kind of social distribution, which I don't, but I wonder if he would bring that up. I wonder if he would bring up any of the numerous fundraisers, charitable donations. Probably not, right? I would assume it's just like he gets the money. He gets the money, and he doesn't even gift subs at the top of the hour. That's right. At the top of the hour, he serves a 3-minute ad break, and he doesn't even gift any subs and expects others to do so to avoid said ads, and then says for $5 or for free, you can avoid those 3-minute ad breaks at the top of the hour. It's fucked up. Socialism, by the way. The Zoe Experience, thank you for the 5 gifted. Looper Shades, thank you for the 5 gifted. Evil as 905, thank you for the 5 gifted. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Sakura Gore, thank you for the 10 gifted. Genuine question for a baby socialist. Why wouldn't charity count? Charity is not socialism, okay? Socialism is not about redistributive policies, okay? Unless we're talking about redistributing profits that workers are generating, okay? And redistributing the power in the workplace back to the workers. Redistributing a democratic process from a dictatorship of the bourgeois, the capital owners, back to a dictatorship of the proletariat. Charity in general, philanthropy in general, under a capitalist organization of the economy is basically a Band-Aid solution for some of the problems that the organization of the economy creates, which is precisely the reason why Jeff Bezos does a fuck ton of it, and it's a good PR for you, and also, in certain instances, even a tax shelter or a tax haven, especially if you set up a 501c4, which you put all your stock options into. It's not a real solution. America is the most charitable country on the planet. If it was a solution, we would have already solved at least some of the problems. There has never been a problem that has been solved through charity. Now, does that mean that charity is not a good thing? Does that mean charity is a bad thing? Of course not. I personally make a genuine, genuine amount of charitable contributions, a lot of which I don't publicize, some of which I do in private, and some of which I do through fundraisers where I also very publicly donate. The necessity of charity implies a policy failure that socialism is supposed to fix. Okay? Understand that. But having said that, is charity good? Certainly. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel the same way that I feel when I am able to, for example, pay for a nice meal with all my friends and family. Makes me feel good. I'm doing it because I have the power to do so, and it makes me it makes me feel great. Right? It's awesome. And the same goes for charity as well. It makes me feel good to be able to help others in some way. Okay? But none of that is socialism. Okay? It's not. But even in their worldview, in the worldview of the likes of Glenn Greenwald and all these other people, they do think charity is socialism, weirdly enough. Of course, if I ask them, okay, does that make Jeff Bezos a socialist? Don't know how they would respond to that. Jeff Bezos would be the biggest socialist, I guess, or Elon Musk would be the biggest fucking socialist, I guess, in that regard. But they do claim that charity is socialism, right? But for some weird reason, I assume he's not going to mention that. Or if he does, he'll say, oh, he's doing it for PR.
Materialistic consumption, while insisting that wealth inequality is immoral, that we should restructure fundamentally our society, and everybody else should give up the kind of inequality he has in his life.
For the record, this would imply me as well. I don't know why Glenn or anyone who criticizes this doesn't realize that. When I say we need to change the way that we tax people in this country, right? To have a higher implementation of capital gains taxes, for example, and to treat it like property taxes in some respects, or even increase the top marginal tax rate for the wealthiest individuals in this country. I'm talking about myself too. Well, the capital gains one doesn't really pertain to me, unfortunately, or I guess because I just don't really have a lot of stocks or anything like that. But like, I'm talking about myself as well. And yet, for some reason, Glenn always is acting like, oh, dude, you don't want that for yourself. You just want it for everybody else. Like, I've never said that. I've never said that. One of the best examples of this is I live in Los Angeles, okay? I live in Los Angeles, California. And unfortunately, you need a car to live here. That is just how it works. You just have to have a car. They very deliberately gutted the public transit system in this wonderful state, in this wonderful city. You need a car to live here. So I have the Taycan, right? And I've said time and time again, I'd fucking throw the Taycan in the ocean if tomorrow we had a better public transit system. I don't want to need to have a car. I have lived in cities where there was no need to have a car my whole life, for longer than I've lived in cities where I do need a car. I lived in Istanbul and Ankara. Never once did I think about having a car, driving a vehicle. There was plenty of opportunities for public transit in those cities, which, by the way, were still not great. Istanbul is much better than Ankara, but still, there's a lot of work to be done there too. Making socialism out to be a poverty cult is a great way of invalidating outspoken socialists, of course. And usually it's done by design, or it's done unintentionally by those who have also fallen to the inherently right-wing, inherently reactionary, McCarthyist-style Red Scare propaganda. Socialism means you need to live an ascetic lifestyle. Socialism means that you need to live a Spartan lifestyle. You need to live in a fucking cardboard box. You cannot have any sort of like hedonistic tendencies. You need to be a good person. And what I believe is a good person is the things that I don't even do myself. I am a right-wing person telling you I believe that living in more modesty is actually a good thing. I don't do it personally, but I think you should do it. When that's not the case, if that was the case, then Warren Buffett would be the best person. He would be the biggest socialist. He still drives his own old Subaru. He still eats at McDonald's every morning. Okay, is Warren Buffett the most socialist motherfucker on the planet then? He does a lot of charitable donations too. Of course not. You ask that question to people, they would lose their fucking minds. They would be like, oh, of course, that's not the case.
There's some inconsistency in that way. So let's look at the article first. It says, Hasan Piker, one of Twitch's leading political commentators, is facing a wave of criticism after purchasing a home in West Hollywood, as followers accuse the self-described, quote, leftist of being hypocritical. The 3,800 square foot home with 5 bedrooms and...
Yeah, by the way, that literally betrays the notion. Like...
5.5 bathrooms. This is a single person in his late 20s or 30s with no wife, no children. He has a 5-bedroom, 5.5 bathroom located in the Beverly Grove neighborhood. Cost $2.74 million, according to
I mean, this is just like stalking and doxing, I guess, but whatever.
The real estate news website, Dirt. Now, he has invoked all of the standard arguments that people in left liberal culture use, why you should ignore the way in which they're living their lives, the choices that they're making, the values reflected by those choices, and instead only focus on systemic questions and not hold them accountable or find it odd that the way in which they're choosing their lives seems to be contrary to the values they want to impose on everybody else. So,
well, Lemo, he said you have no wife or kids, so you can have a 1-bedroom home. First of all, this is not my house. Like, this is literally fucking footage from whoever was trying to sell it. Like, it's insane that he's like showing this shit, making it seem like this is my current house, current furniture, anything like that. But he also said I don't have like a wife or children, okay? Which is wild, because if that's the case, my mom is living with me right now. Like, you could have done at least a little bit of fucking research. But of course, Glenn is not interested in honest, truth, objective coverage. He's making it seem like I'm the one who was like, I really want to pay $2.7 million. He's making it seem like I'm the one who actually dumped $2.7 million flat and paid for the house cash, which is fucking psychotic. Of course I didn't. It's a down payment on a place that I currently work inside of, on a place where I can house my family for extended durations throughout the fucking year, including my brother and my mom and my dad, okay, and my cousin who's supposed to be here soon this week, which is fucking insane, okay? All of this stuff is wild, okay? Like, this is not objective analysis. This is not journalism. This is Glenn trying to write the same old narrative over and over and over again. That, like, socialism means you have to be poor. Socialism means you can't have a nice house. Socialism means that you're a hypocrite if you have a nice house in Los Angeles. You don't deserve to have to defend your house every week. Ultimately, this is absolutely an idiotic take that has been addressed so many times that I think when Glenn puts this out there, it's just for the people who are like unhinged, frothing out of the mouth type haters. You know what I mean? For all those people, it's like, oh yeah, I'm hearing the same shit over and over again. They're playing the greatest hits. But for a normie who watches this, I don't think a single person is going to be like, yeah, this is really fucking good.
Pictures of his home. There's the interior, very, very spacious and very nice. Here's an outdoor shot of the home from the real estate listing. Now, he has a whole variety of excuses that, again, come from the way in which the left has insisted
Which, by the way, he's literally comparing me to Robert Reich, Bill Clinton's labor secretary, now, academic Robert Reich. He's comparing me to John Kerry, okay? He's comparing me to, they know where you live? Yeah, I don't give a fuck. It's fine. He's not only like paga watching, but like basically fucking doxing me to his psychotic fan base on Rumble. Anyway, that shit's stupid. He said you're coming up with excuses and doesn't want to mention them because your excuses just are sound reasoning. Dude, this is bullshit and so uncomfortable. He's literally doxing you and sticking to the rabid crazies on you. Glenn is absolutely lunatic. What the fuck? It's okay. It's not okay, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I'm used to it. I've grown accustomed to this kind of line of attack, so much so that I've actually personally had to routinely address it. I don't even think Glenn Greenwald personally believes in any of this shit, though, that he's saying.
That personal conduct doesn't matter. Here, let's just look at a couple of tweets. Here he is sarcastically complaining, quote, socialism is when you live in a shed built by hand off the grid. So in other words, he's saying people are attacking me for living in a house. I'm supposed to live in a shed. No one's suggesting that. It's just there's a big...
So what are you suggesting? What are you suggesting? First of all, that's a joke. But what are you suggesting then? That I check in with you on what kind of living accommodations I should have for myself and my family? Is that what socialism is? Socialism is when, people give you voluntary donations that they don't even have to give you, and then you take those voluntary donations and put a down payment on a fucking house, and then I have to ask Glenn Greenwald what kind of house I should buy. Thanks, Glenn. Or is socialism, means no jokes? Is that what it is? These are recent screen caps as your new profile pic. They literally scoured your tweets. Yeah, no, I know.
The difference between living in a house and buying a multi-million-dollar mansion in Los Angeles with 5 bathrooms and 5.5 bedrooms while you claim to be a socialist. Here's another complaint in his video crying about my house and income. Ben Shapiro said, quote, is a worker not entitled to the fruits of his labor as a talking point in support of capitalism?
No, I said that. Yeah. In his video crying about my house, Ben Shapiro says, is a worker not entitled to the fruits of his labor as a talking point in support of capitalism? In the most reductive terms, that is literally the core of socialism. It is. This is one of my favorite conversations to have because is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow is from BioShock, right? Is a man not entitled to the fruits of his labor is unironically a Marxist quote that libertarians deploy at the behest of capital owners. You are too stupid to understand the context behind it. You have to literally look at that situation and go, wow, in BioShock, the libertarians were the good guys. No, it's like when anti-abortion psychopaths claim to be pro-life. That doesn't actually mean they're pro-life. They have just adopted a position that makes it seem like their unimaginably psychotic worldview is actually more manageable, is actually more palatable. They do it all the time. They're anti-choice, but they claim to be pro-life. When someone who is a libertarian says is a man not entitled to the fruits of his labor, that doesn't actually mean libertarianism, you fucking idiot. They are utilizing left-wing economic populism to sell their reactionary right-wing economic idealism, okay? That's it. The fact that this is not Pulitzer Prize winning journalism. I'll just say it like that. The fact that he's personally doing the shittiest form of Hasan Sucks commentary that I can get from a gray name in my chat means that he has fallen off abysmally. Okay? You haven't even given me a single fucking good take in this that I haven't heard, that I don't consider to be unique. It's kind of sad. It's actually fucking sad. The last time I had to talk about these points of view was when I was talking to Trainwrecks, dude. Like, that's what Glenn Greenwald is doing. It's such a fall from fucking grace. It's so devastating.
In the most reductive terms, that is literally the core of socialism. And then here he is again attacking what he calls left Twitter weirdos.
Which, by the way, he should understand. Left Twitter weirdos is why he like radicalized into what he is now, isn't it?
For noting this inconsistency, saying they and Breitbart.
Wait, but okay, he's just posting my greatest hits right now.
Are on the same page, that socialism means you have no house. So this is the set of arguments that they have as to why you should ignore personal behavior.
That's not even the case. There's personal behavior. Like if I bought a fucking yacht or some shit, or if I was routinely flying on private jets, then you could fucking shit on me. He also purposely cropped the likes and retweets. Yeah, exactly. Like, the fuck do you mean? 3 sarcastic and joke tweets are the source of your retorts. Yeah, I have had a million conversations on this issue. There have been plenty of people that have written on this matter. I have covered this matter a lot. He could have very easily found an effective counter, but that would require him to, one, actually do research and not just fucking screenshot some of my tweets like a fucking unhinged stan, or actually require him to deliver an adequate retort, which he has none for.
There's a comic, I think we have this, that has become very popular in left-wing politics. If we don't have that, we can put that up. It's essentially a comic mocking the idea. Here it is. It's a cartoon here.
Bro, this is like Joe Rogan. Like, this is Joe Rogan's Facebook meme. Oh, my God. He's going to put the Matt Boris comic up. Oh, my God. He's going to put the Matt Boris comic up. Oh, God, I'm going to die.
That anyone whose life wildly contradicts the political values they claim to believe in might have a difficult time acting with credibility. Here you see that.
Brother, if I was union busting, okay, if I was literally fucking mistreating people that I work with, if I was doing any number of those things, then you could have an argument here. But I don't do any of those things, so you don't have an argument there, so you have to fucking move on to like me buying a house. I am literally the only person, it seems, in the United States of America, in the political commentary sphere, that is not allowed to own a home. Okay? That's what this argument is. Or at least a home that they have chosen for me. It's fucking psychotic.
The critique reduced to someone saying we should improve society somewhat, and then the person that you're supposed to mock saying, yet you participate in society. Curious, I am very intelligent. So this is what John Kerry would point.
He's just mad. And also tying me to John Kerry in this way is so funny. John Kerry, it has proximity to power. John Kerry is not a fucking dumbass Twitch streamer. How brain broken are you, you pathetic fucking loser? You're like 50 years old, man. How? You won awards for your journalism. You really think someone like me, a fucking Twitch streamer who makes fart jokes, burps into the fucking microphone, and like half the time is reacting to dumbass YouTube fucking videos, is anywhere near a person who's flying to Davos in a private jet? Like, that's your argument? That is bananas, man. You are going after, I mean, I don't see myself as this serious beacon that these guys do. I find it very weird. It's very weird. I'm a fucking influencer, okay? I am a shitty e-celeb at best. The idea that you could compare me to people who are like literally like people with actual proximity to power is mind-boggling. Coming from a guy who also is, you know, buddy with Peter Thiel, a villainous billionaire, is insane. You are very big, dude. Come on, it's normal. Good luck having, of course, this normal argument with individuals who spend all of their goddamn lives on Twitch. You greatly overemphasize how much power or how much influence I have. I can be an important figure in your life, okay? But that is nothing in the grand scheme. In the grand scheme of things, it's a tiny, minuscule portion in societal change, okay? Do you understand? At this point, the vitriol cannot be explained by anything other than lust. Yeah, like comparing me to John Kerry should get you laughed out of every fucking room, dude. It should get you laughed out of any serious circle. I'm a Twitch streamer, dog. What the fuck? It blows my mind.
Point two. If you criticized him for flying in private jets to Davos to talk about the climate crisis, or it's what Robert Reich would point to, oh, all I'm doing is participating in society, that doesn't mean I'm precluded from changing.
Yeah, your photo yesterday shows your level. Hanging out with Oliver Tree is not the same thing as being the former Secretary of State. Like, guys, this man is comparing me to John Kerry, a person who ran for president. Okay?
Changing from arguing society should be better and should be changed. That's what David Geffen would say. Yes, I have a mega yacht. I'm just participating.
Yeah, David Geffen would say that. Me and David Geffen are the same. Well, to be fair, you were the second largest donator to the Amazon labor union. You are kind of a big deal, but yeah, you're still just a Twitch streamer. Yes. I think you underplay the value you have in motivating the youth to be interested in politics. That's deliberate. That's by design. I don't have that kind of fucking power that my haters ascribe to me or attribute to me. It's not real. I make the most of the limited space that I have. I make the most of the financial success that I've seen. Okay? But that doesn't change the reality that, like, I am nothing in comparison to Jeffrey Jebediah fucking Bezos. I am nothing in comparison to David fucking Geffen. Like, dude, the person he's comparing me to and saying this is the exact same principle, okay? His net worth is $7.7 billion, dude. $7.7 billion. Like, please understand. He's comparing me to John Kerry, okay? He's comparing me to John motherfucking Kerry. John Forbes Kerry. Okay? The former Secretary of State of the United States of America, who ran for president, who was a senator, John fucking Kerry. John Kerry's also, I believe, married to like a profoundly wealthy person as well. There is that. Paying a mortgage on a $2.5 million home equals being a fucking former Secretary of State and a billionaire like David Geffen. So, like, this is not serious, right? You are not a serious person. You're a deeply, deeply unserious person if you actually make this kind of comparison. It's one that is laughable. It's like looking at fucking Bryce Hall and being like, Bryce Hall is motivating the youth in a way that John Kerry is motivating the youth. But look at the way Bryce Hall lives. Like, dude, like, what I do is the same as like XQC in some ways. You know what I mean? You're comparing me to XQC. That would be an apt comparison. You are comparing XQC to John Kerry. You have been growing on YouTube over the past 5 years? Yeah, but that doesn't mean shit, dude. What are you talking about? Like, who cares? Okay, let's compare HasanAbi to Glenn Greenwald. How about that on YouTube search? Oh. Never mind. Now I see why he's doing this on Rumble. Oops. Compare with John Kerry. I mean, yeah, on YouTube, John Kerry is not going to get a lot of play, I assume, but yeah. But like, that goes to show you, YouTube search results do not mean anything, okay? They do not mean anything. That's the point. John Kerry, my least favorite YouTuber. Bro, when he did the Notes app apology, dude, that shit was whack. I hated his latest prank videos.
In the system, it doesn't mean that I can't argue that society should be different and that we should solve the climate crisis collectively. This is the argument they have built in to their politics. Now, so extreme is this refusal to accept any personal responsibility that they'll go around, oftentimes, the people who have these inconsistencies, criticizing other people for pursuing lives of material wealth. So I want to show you a couple videos that Hasan Piker recently posted, in which he talked about both myself and Matt Taibbi and claimed that the reason Matt Taibbi and
now we know why he's doing that.
I have changed our politics, which is his view, is because we're the ones who are seeking material wealth. Let me show you a couple of these.
That's what's going on. Now we get it. Glenn Greenwald fucking claws back like a charlatan because he's so mad that I correctly called out that he fucking changed his politics for that sweet Substack cash, baby. Let's go.
Videos that
more like, yeah, Glenn Greenwald
that he just recently posted within the last week.
It's from the Majority Report, I suspect.
I
don't
not care. I like his defense of.
This is, by the way, Hasan Piker on his very popular Twitch show that earns him millions of dollars a month, responding to a conversation between the former New York Times reporter Chris Hedges, who left the paper because he was objecting to their support for the Iraq War, talking to Brianna Joy Gray, and Chris.
By the way, I literally defended Chris Hedges and said that he's great. And I think that in that same video, I'm sure he won't admit to that because he wants to make it seem like I'm shitting on Chris Hedges.
Had defended myself, Matt Taibbi, Jimmy Dore, claiming that we haven't changed our political views at all, that instead the Democratic Party people
millions of dollars a month. Yeah, but yeah, I make millions of dollars a month. He's right.
Like Hasan Piker and others on the left have become tools of the establishment. And since we continue to oppose establishment doctrine, they see us as being on the other side and think we've switched sides, whereas in reality, they're the ones who have done so to stay on the right side of the mainstream line. He's responding to that critique. And
yeah, bro, the right side is actually Donald Trump. Somehow. I don't know how you square that fucking hole, but
here's what he said.
Of Glenn Greenwald, who makes like literally, I think, $250,000 a month, or no, more than that actually. Glenn Greenwald's Substack makes him like $1 million a month or some shit like that. Like Glenn Greenwald has Glenn Greenwald makes significantly more money than I do on a monthly basis from his Substack. That's kind of weird since you are the same and Glenn and Taibbi fell off and went right wing. Yeah, I know, but he thinks that that's like truthful because there's agreements there. Okay? He agrees with some of the things that, as an older guy, he agrees with some of the fucking things that Matt Taibbi and Glenn Greenwald say about like wokeness and woke culture. He's never heard me talk about it or criticize it. He's only seen me as the guy who buys a fucking
confronting.
house.
So, first of all, almost everything he said about me there was completely false.
Is that why he just like said a bunch of false shit about me? Like that's what he's saying? Sometimes the clips are so fucking funny when you're shown on like a serious news show. Brother, what Glenn is doing is not necessarily a serious news show. What he's doing is basically an incredibly low budget fall from grace Rumble play that he made for as much money as he possibly could get out of the right. Good on him. Keep milking the right, my man. You know, keep doing.
There were
the
lies. The amounts of money that he claimed I make on Substack, where I'm not even anymore. I've now moved to locals, but even when I was at Substack, those numbers are completely made up. They're so wildly exaggerated to the point of just being lies. They're in a completely different universe. As well as the fact that Matt Taibbi and I have become...
The guy who compared me to $8 billion net worth David Geffen and Robert Reich and John Kerry is upset, who said I make millions of dollars, is upset that I guess said that he makes millions of dollars on Substack. I'm surprised because, yeah, he said I make millions of dollars a month on... The disparity between your net worth and $8 billion is probably a lot bigger than the disparity between your guess on how much he makes on Substack versus how much he actually makes. It's not even that, but you were generous. You started at 300K and then went to maybe $1 million. No, I don't know exactly how much he makes because he, unlike myself, has hidden his number when he was... Substack is like Twitch but boring for reading, okay? It's for posters that post on Twitter to go and like write longer posts on another website where you have to pay $5 a month or whatever. Someone here says he's making around $180K a month from Substack. Yeah, this was according to an estimate from the Financial Times on Wednesday. Glenn Greenwald, Substack's most notable writer, makes between $80,000 to $160,000 in subscriptions every month and is set to make up to $2 million a year. This was in 2021. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that grew before he moved on and away from Substack.
Come right wing because we obsessed on the culture war. When I almost never talk about the culture war. When's the last time on this show I've ever talked about things like trans issues or abortion or LGBT debates? I just almost never talk about those at all. I actually wrote to Hasan when I heard this clip, when someone sent it to me, detailing his lies. And even though I wrote to him in a place that he and I have communicated before, he just ignored it. Imagine how cowardly you have to be to go on your show constantly and talk about somebody, and when you get caught lying, you write to the person and say, by the way, everything you're saying about me is false. You just ignore it and go back to talking about that person. In talking about Richard Grenell, he claimed I spoke inaccurately about his role in a much less extreme way than these lies Hasan Piker told about me. And the first thing I did upon getting his email was I ran to Twitter. I urged people to go read Richard Grenell's version of events, disputing what I had said, and then invited him on my show to clear the air. That's what you do if you're a person who has even minimal integrity. What he did, Hasan Piker, was he ignored what I sent him. He didn't correct any of what he said about me there. And then he went back and again said that both Matt Taibbi and I have political views that we've adopted because we are interested in getting rich. Let's look at, this is him saying this again. This is several days after I sent him those corrections.
Straight up. He's like a hard listen. That's how big of a fan I was. And And honestly, it's really sad.
What happened? Left on red? What is he saying? You actually have to go back. As soon as you stood up, he started explaining in detail why he's mad.
Richard Grenell, he claimed I spoke inaccurately about his role in a much less extreme way than these lies Hassan Piker told about me. And the first thing I did upon getting his email was I ran to Twitter. I urged people to go read Richard Grenell's version of events, disputing what I had said, and then invited him on my show to clear the air. That's what you do if you're a person who has even minimal integrity. What he did, Hassan Piker, was he ignored what I sent him. He didn't correct any of what he said about me there. And then he went back and again.
Wait, he sent me a DM? Is that what he's saying? What the fuck did he send me? I didn't even see it. That's awesome. Yes, go further back. Hold on. I'm going to read it. What did he say? Oh my God, he did. Last time I talked to Glenn was November 1st, 2020. I said, no, lol, you don't have to play video games at all. All you need is the Discord. I use it like Skype. It's more secure because I was trying to like get him on and have a conversation with him. I've had Lee Fong on with it and Ryan Grimm all the time. Their Discord, he never responded to that. And then he sent me, hi, Hassan. Someone sent me a clip where you referenced me for a bit. Not sure if this was from this week, but it seems recent. I'm sending a few points of clarification. I'm not angry. I'm not suggesting you lied or did anything in bad faith, but it's just to clarify in case you mention it again. Bro, this man sent me this DM on April 12th. You want to know something? He sent it at 5:31 a.m. Yeah, bro, I didn't see it. My bad. You know how many fucking DMs I get? Are you insane? You sent me you sent me the long. Oh my God, it's so long. It's so many paragraphs. What the fuck? Only 7? It took 7 days and he went to war? My man literally said, I sent you DMs at 5 a.m. You didn't see it. And instead of like following up on it, I decided to dox you to my fucking right-wing fan base. That's psychotic. While also comparing you to David Geffen, which is hilarious. Yeah, me and David, dude, we're so similar in how much money we make, how much power we have, how we generate value, how we generate how we generate revenue. Glenn is getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars by right-wing billionaire Peter Thiel to post on Rumble. Greenwald told the Post that Rumble reached out to him in midsummer, asking him to produce high-quality videos in exchange for a merange 6 figures total right-wing sellout sum. Yeah. I don't know why you feel the need to go over these topics when we are all on your side. The people that are going to listen to this propaganda are not the people who will ever pull value from the ideals that you push on the daily. I mean, it's fucking wild that this guy who, you know, he's behaving like a YouTube essayist. Like, I expect some fucking random YouTube essayist to just, like, make a lot of glaringly obvious mistakes in their coverage. I don't expect a guy who was probably one of the most important journalists in contemporary history to do that on such a short period of time. Like, you're not Sunny V2, homie. You're Glenn motherfucking Greenwald. You exposed NSA surveillance on allied nations and the United States of America on domestic. You exposed the FISA courts. Like, are you fucking insane? He's miffed because the DM was ignored. He's such a diva. I mean, he is. I mean, dude, how pathetic has your life become? You used to be hunted by the Bolsonaro government for literally getting Lula out of prison. This man played a formative role in getting the current leader of Brazil out of prison, which he was unjustifiably imprisoned under. Okay? Him and his team of researchers in Brazil did that. That is very important. Okay? That's a very important thing that he did. Very important piece of journalism that he did. That wasn't that long ago. Now he's talking about a fucking dumbass himbo Twitch streamer with the same severity. But unfortunately, it seems he's lost his touch on the investigative reporting side. No, he didn't. The hacker hates him. A reminder that Greenwald omitted both open and covert U.S. involvement in Lava Jato. From his book about Lava Jato, his last known writing on U.S. interference in Brazil was in mid-2015, despite having access to massive amounts of evidence. In 2017, Lula facing jail and the U.S. DOJ openly admitted Greenwald presents far-right Lava Jato task force with the Allard Prize, lauding their courage. They privately called Lula's arrest, which kept him out of a 2018 election, a gift from the CIA. He's against Lula now? That's awesome. Good for him. Glenn Greenwald turning into Stan after you didn't see his DM. Bro, my man sent a DM at 5 a.m. Like, how? I didn't see it. My bad. I'm not sure where you got the Substack numbers. I never made near $1 million a month there. I left a couple months ago for logos as a part of my deal to broadcast a nightly show on Rumble. But when I was there, the Substack income was closer to $2 million a year than $1 million a month. That's a huge amount, more than I ever would have thought I'd make, but not close to what you suggested. You know what's ironic about that? That's how I feel about the amount of money I make on Twitch. It's a gigantic sum, and it's literally something that I never thought I would make. Never even like that's not what it was. I was never like, oh man, I'm going to make fucking, I'm going to have 70,000 fucking subs. That's why I'm doing it. Like, that's unimaginable. So he should understand that better than anybody else. I don't know what you make, but I doubt that was more than you. The Rumble Locals deal I have is significantly higher, so who knows what compares to you now. He's like flexing in the DMs too. I'm like, oh, I make a lot more now that I got fucking Peter Thiel money. Thanks, man. It's a huge myth that I talk a lot about cancel culture and woke stuff. I barely mention it at all. I almost never talk about trans stuff and other culture war battles of that nature. The only time I focused on such issues was to defend Bernie in 2016 and to a lesser extent Bernie 2020 when Bernie bro misogyny accusations were weaponized against his supporters. That's bullshit. I've seen him fucking chirp about trans people nonstop on the fucking timeline. That doesn't represent the broad majority of his coverage, of course. But let's be fucking real. Like, that is a part of his radicalization. Anyway, I know this is a losing battle to convince you, but the idea that I or Matt have become right-wing is just preposterous. What has changed is that Democrats and liberals and even sectors of the left now support exactly those entities and ideas. He and I have always opposed the U.S. security state. I don't even disagree. This is the worst part. I don't fucking disagree with this sentiment, okay? I do agree that the Democratic Party absolutely plays the shepherd in American state surveillance and beefing up the American state, the American surveillance state. Like, it's so odd that he acts like I don't say this while also mad that I am like correctly pointing out some of the reactionary takes that he's had about like identity politics or whatever, even though overall I do think that identity politics is weaponized towards the left. and is used as a stopgap measure to make sure that the left does not have momentum in this country. That is the annoying part about this entire conversation, is that we fucking agree on that stuff if that's what you're saying, but that's not what you're saying. You know what I mean? That's not all you're saying, rather. You're saying a lot more than that. Every Dem voted yes on funding the war for Ukraine. Polling data shows gigantic shifts, not from me, but from the GOP and Democrats on the issues on which we're most focused. That's what has changed. Not a single foundational view of mine has. Dude, you have to be on the strongest crack cocaine ever known to man. I don't even think that shit is that shit is even distributed in Brazil, to think that the right-wing party and the right-wing the right-wing voter base is not in favor of like more surveillance on, foreign nations and more war against foreign nations. It is the most common deflectionary tactic. It's not that I'm against war, I'm against this war. Okay? That's what they always fucking say. It's a Noam Chomsky take. Noam Chomsky loves eviscerating this so perfectly. Marjorie Taylor Greene comes to mind immediately. She says, why are we giving so much money to the Ukraine when we should be spending some of that money on our war with Mexico? We should be bombing Mexican drug cartels in the South. Okay? None of these people are actually anti-war, starting with the opposition to U.S. support for Israel, but in general emphasizing the foreign policy principles of both Chomsky and Zinn. Yeah, I fucking doubt that Noam Chomsky, I mean, I don't know what Noam Chomsky's up to lately, but is Glenn saying that? I don't think Glenn is saying that. I mean, I have heard him say that this war is silly. I don't know if he I can't recall a time. I think he said some stuff about like other places where we could be utilizing our war coffers better. Not to the same degree as Marjorie Taylor Greene, but when you are basically aligning yourself with Tucker Carlson, okay, and never ever talking about like right wing and how fucking silly they are. Since he's in your DMs, ask Greenwald why he said there is no racial hierarchy in Carlson's view of American citizenship, and the claim that there is nothing nothing short of a defamatory lie. So if Glenn isn't saying that, are you making a straw man? Where is this argument coming from? This argument is coming from Glenn aligning with the right. And Glenn saying that there is a sea change in American politics where the left is defending the military apparatus and military spending, okay? And implying that the right is not, okay? It's not a straw man. Dude, if you're going to, okay, listen, I really, really, really need to help you with something, okay? If you're going to do the pedantic debate lord shit, okay, the least you can do is at least exercise some of the muscles up here, okay? Just rub a couple of the brain cells together and fully comprehend the words that are coming out of my mouth, okay? I love you, boo, but you're heated. I'm not. And then you immediately fall back to I was just pretending to be R-worded meme. Like, the moment that your fucking counters fall apart, you go, I just did it to troll you. I just did it to trigger you, and you're heated, and you lost. I'm not. I'm not triggered. I'm not even remotely trolled by you. You just look like a fucking pathetic loser who is trying to make a semantics argument and not even doing a good job. Like, do you understand? I'm not trolling you. You made some arguments that Glenn didn't say. I'm directly reading his DMs verbatim to you, and you're going, oh, you're making arguments that Glenn didn't say. No, that is your fault. That is your processing issue, okay? You need to go back to the drawing board. Come back with an actual fucking effective counter. Glenn Greenwald's attitude change within the right wing, the attitude shift within the GOP towards like the American surveillance state or towards like America's wars is an insane one. I gave you an example of a very prominent figure in the Republican Party, Marjorie Taylor Greene, talking about, weaponizing the supposedly anti-war attitudes that they have and utilizing that as a way to just basically do the same old thing that reactionary politicians and right-wing Republicans have said time and time again. They're not anti-war. They're anti this war. So instead, maybe just simply understand what I'm trying to explain to you here instead of immediately going, oh man, you fucking got you. I got you. Okay? Debate Lord Chatters always freeze up and backtrack once you bring them up on screen. No, they turn around and they say, oh, dude, you're so triggered right now. Like, do you think that if you truly believe in your heart of hearts that debating is the best form to arrive at the truth, just simply saying straw man, straw man, straw man, straw man, and then when being called out on your lack of understanding of what I'm actually saying, you go, ha, lol, you're pressed. Like that, you didn't do anything. You just derailed the conversation because you're a narcissistic man-child who doesn't have any immediate family members even that loves them, and you are looking for a crumb of attention from this space, this community, and you're basically doing that for a brief moment of like feeling like you're alive, okay? That's where it comes from. That's the reason. Anyway. Oh, you mad, bro? I made you so mad. I won. Anyway, you didn't win anything. Your life still fucking is absolute dog shit. Okay, let's move on. Funding for the polling data shows gigantic shifts, not from me, but from the GOP and Democrats on the issues on which they're most focused. That's what has changed, not a single foundational view. Mine has. I hope you listen a bit more carefully and with a more open mind to what Chris Hedges said in that clip you played about how people who get rich in politics or media don't necessarily just sell out, but instead start hedging their views to stay safely within mainstream circles. It's not about making money. If today's online independent media economy had existed in 2007 when Dershowitz succeeded in destroying Norman Finkelstein, then Norman likely would have been able to make a ton of money by creating some online show or a Substack where he would have been widely popular among defenders of Palestinians. That wouldn't change the fact that he was completely marginalized because he became unemployable with no major media outlets that would air his views. As Chris Hedges said, Howard Zinn made a ton of money from his book, as is Chomsky with his books and speeches. Their material wealth doesn't make them less marginalized. I love that he's saying that about Chris Hedges, and he's saying that about Noam Chomsky, which are true, and he's saying that about Norm Finkelstein, but my views have not shifted. My views are identical, and yet he still goes, but you are somehow ostensibly in this magical sphere where you're defending the Democratic Party's bottom line, where you're still personally like a defender of Nancy Pelosi. That's the issue here. You are not proving that I am a defender of Nancy Pelosi that is somehow different than how I have talked about the Democratic Party. Okay? Like the idea, by the way, this is all at 5 a.m. That he DM'd me this. The idea that my attitude shifted and I went from like never vote actually to like, oh, you should definitely vote, please, ultimately is silly because it's wrong on both sides. Okay? I have always said that voting is the least significant, most important thing you can do. I've always said that voting in a bourgeois system is not going to move the needle beyond like immediately just lowering the harm that is done by stopgapping, by trying to stop the fucking harm like the unnecessary additional culture war harm that the Republican Party wages on a regular basis. Okay? That's it. I've been saying that for the past fucking 10 years. It doesn't matter. I am more critical of the Democratic Party than I am of the Republican Party, and not in the way that Glenn Greenwald is, because I do end up being critical of the Republican Party, whereas I rarely ever hear him, this is a meme at this point, I rarely ever hear him shit on the Republican Party. Okay? Voting is not the end-all, be-all, something I have said time and time again. If you were a defender of the Dem Party, they'd be begging to be on your stream. Exactly. Anyway, what he's saying is that everyone knows where the lines are and which ones can't be crossed in order to stay in good standing in mainstream circles. Right now, that means pledging your ultimate allegiance to the Democratic Party, even if you bash it every day, all as a way of signaling that you regard Trump as a singular worst evil, not the CIA and Pentagon, not militarism and corporism. First of all, the reason why I think Trump sucks is because he grossly still continued the American militarism, American chauvinism, American Western chauvinism, American fucking imperialism. What kind of fucking stupid take is this? I don't think Glenn personally thinks that, Trump has greatly fucking dialed in and pulled the reins on American militarism, right? Like, there's no way he would say that, or with respect to like the CIA and Pentagon operations. But Trump and the GOP doing things like endorsing Gavin Newsom is how you stay on the right side of that line. Those of us who refuse to lend ultimate support to Democrats get branded and maligned by people like you as right-wingers or Russian agents a la Jill Stein. First of all, I never said Glenn is like a Russian agent or anything. So I don't know where the fuck that's coming from. He's just like literally shadowboxing with a vision that he's shadowboxing with a vision that he has created in his fucking mind. People were salivating at the mouth for you to say don't vote when you literally said vote, even though people we have a choice for suck. Yeah, I always leave it up to you ultimately. I do think that local elections are significantly more important. Like the down ballot votes are significantly more important. I've done fundraisers for, council district people who have ended up winning in local Los Angeles positions. And I have always maintained that position. I think ballot measures are good. I think down ballot voting is good. There are always going to be candidates there that are actually, going to have immediate material changes in your life. They're going to lead to immediate material changes in your life. That position has always been consistent. Primary voting is good, especially if there's like a legitimate left-wing candidate there in the primaries like Bernie Sanders. You know what I mean? I've done door knocking for him as well. So, anyway, I find it very odd that he is making this argument. What is this? Corporatism? Lamau just say capitalism, man. Oh, wait, you can't because you're a grifter ultimately. Yeah, exactly. No, that chatter is right. He's not Glenn Greenwald is not an anti-capitalist. Okay. That's why he can get away with living in a fucking compound or whatever he does. Okay. Anyway, when in reality, we just refuse to lend any support to the modern iteration of the Democratic Party and its array of core allies such as neocons, the U.S. security state, and Wall Street. All of the things that he has said is correct. All of the things that he has said is absolutely correct with respect to the Democratic Party lending support to all of these institutions. But so does the right. I shit on both, okay? And I'm ruthlessly honest about what the situation is when push comes to shove and you have to go out and vote. Okay? So if we are in agreement, why are you so fucking mad? You know what I mean? Yeah, Ben Norton doesn't agree with that either. Look at this. I've spent so many hours of my life arguing with people who claim the Democrats are the lesser evil. But now some former leftists are trying to argue that Trump and the GOP are the lesser evil. It's so opportunistic and stupid. U.S. partisan politics inevitably rots your brain. Ironic because they're two sides of the same fucking military apparatus. That's why there's always bipartisan compromise when it comes to increasing military discretionary spending. That's why it's always bipartisan compromise when it comes to fucking bullshit like the Havana syndrome and giving CIA operatives and State Department employees like extra platinum health care over just some made up issue because they had boo-boos. They were doing explosive diarrhea. Okay? So fucking stupid. Yeah, Ben Norton. Trump never opposed empire. He killed Iran's General Soleimani. Greenlit Israeli colonialism, 100%. Greatly accelerated Israeli colonialism. Launched a coup and invasion of Venezuela, which failed. Oversaw the Bolivia coup. Backed the Nicaragua coup. Boasted of stealing Syrian oil. Continued the Afghan war. Expanded the Yemen war. And wants to attack Mexico. It is so profoundly stupid to act like Donald Trump was not in every sense of the word, just as violent and just as bloodthirsty as every other president that preceded him. I'm not even going to go, I would even admit that Bernie Sanders, if by some insane long shot became the president of the United States, he would probably do a lot of fucking war crimes too. The American position is war crimes galore. The American institution, the American project is built on top of a mountain of brown and black and working class dead bodies. Okay? That is the grim reality of the circumstances that we have to deal with. Sorry, Glenn, but I'm laughing so hard at this cursed thumbnail. That's the best he's ever looked.
Again said that both Matt Taibbi and I have political views that we've adopted because we are interested in getting rich. Let's look at, this is him saying this again. This is several days after I sent him those corrections.
Straight up. He is like a hard listen. That's how big of a fan I was. And
like, I didn't see these corrections. I don't know why he thought.
And honestly, it's really sad to see him fall from grace like this.
He's talking about Matt Taibbi here, and then he moves to me.
You know, straight up. He is like a hard listen. That's how big of a fan I was.
The irony is that I'm also talking about like a hard listen as in like his vocal fry.
And honestly, it's really sad to see him fall from grace like this, but I think he's caked up, so he's doing all right, you know, good for him. But the thing is, you know, they want to make money wherever they can. I feel like it's like half genuine ideological separation from the rest of the left, which they, I guess, somewhat were a part of. They certainly were a part of it. And when I say they, I mean Glenn Greenwald and Matt Taibbi. And partially because there is some money to be made in that other direction.
Okay, so first of all, just this idea that someone like him is the gatekeeper of who's on the left and who's not. I don't care about these labels. I never have. I've never claimed any label other than civil libertarian or anti.
Wow, that's funny because I'm the same. I don't give a fuck about these labels either, even though you're like, you have created a false notion of what it means to be like a socialist that you just completely are adopting from the reactionary right-wing McCarthyist perspective of what it means to be a socialist, which is like, well, you have to be in a dire, like incredibly poor or you know, in a lifestyle that you have personally decided is appropriate. And then using that and bashing me in the fucking head with it in the same way that like every one of my fucking dumbass haters have, which is ironic because those guys didn't want a fucking Pulitzer.
Authoritarian. I don't care who's on the left and who's on the right. It doesn't interest me at all. But the fact that somebody like him who urges his followers to go and support people like Gavin Newsom and Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden thinks he's the gatekeeper of who's a real leftist and who isn't. is laughable. It's what you do when you actually...
Yeah, I love Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden and have said that they are the gatekeepers of the left. Did I misunderstand what he's saying?
Go and support people like Gavin Newsom and Hillary Clinton. And
no, I just said I don't want Larry Elder to be my governor, which was a valid concern.
Joe Biden thinks he's the gatekeeper of who's a real leftist and who isn't.
He's saying I'm a gatekeeper of who's a real leftist.
It's what you do when you actually want to pursue material wealth. There's a very clear way that you do that. Everybody knows the easiest way to get rich in media and politics. It is not by doing what Matt Taibbi and I did. The easiest way to get rich in American politics is to attach yourself to the liberal left wing of the...
That's so crazy. Yeah, totally. That's why Steven Crowder is like complaining about a $50 million deal. Yeah, no. That's why you only see motherfuckers who like leave the left and go on a right-wing tangent. I have never seen someone who, other than like on their own volition, has moved. Like, I've never seen somebody move to the left for material gain, okay? Maybe liberalism. He's not wrong about that. You could make money doing that, for sure. But, you know, I'm not getting paid by CNN, dog. I'm not getting paid by MSNBC, so what the fuck does that matter? I'm not getting paid by right-wing billionaires or right-wing platforms that are built by right-wing billionaires. So weird.
The Democratic Party and constantly spout all sorts of claims in opposition to Donald Trump and the conservative movement. Go on air every day and say that Trump is a fascist, that Trump is beholden to Russia, that he's Putin's boyfriend.
I'm not one of those people, so I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
The way that everybody in media and politics have gotten rich over the last 6 years is by spouting left liberal tripe. So here, for example, is the top Substack performers, the people who make the most money on Substack. And there you see at the top, this is very recent, so it's after I left, the number one earner on Substack.
Huh, interesting. After he left. Yeah, the Free Press by Barry Weiss. Like, I don't know who the fuck Heather Cox Richardson is, but Barry Weiss, Matt Taibbi, The Bulwark, and Dr. Mercola's censored library private membership. I wonder what these guys' politics are. I really want to know what these guys' politics are. Oh, I guess if Heather Cox Richardson, who I guess is a liberal, okay, that's what he's going to say. I wonder who these other guys and what their personal politics are. This man watched 4 clip chimps and called it a day. He didn't even show the whole clip. Also, he literally bragged about getting more money from Rumble, which is, you know, Peter Thiel's operation, isn't it? Yeah, Peter Thiel-backed video platform Rumble starts trading after SPAC deal. After he says left-wing politics makes the most money, it's too perfect.
By far, by millions of dollars. She makes an estimated $5 million a year. I believe it's more now, based on my knowledge. She's been the richest and highest earner on Substack from the start, is a Boston College history professor named Heather Cox Richardson, who is the living, breathing embodiment of hashtag resistance politics. Every single day, she goes onto this extremely lucrative Substack page and writes an article under the...
Heather Cox Richardson is a Harvard history professor who grew up in boarding school, so libbed up her Substack reads as DNC propaganda. Yeah, I'm sure it is. But again, it's incredibly funny that, like, he's just saying one person, but on his own screenshot, the rest are all right wing. You know what I mean? He's like, wow, you know who makes the most money? One out of the top 5 in your list is a liberal. So to the right of me, regardless. But even then,
thinnest skies of academic scholarship, in which he uses her history credentials to compare Trump to Hitler and Genghis Khan and, every authoritarian, tyrannical despot that has ever existed. She feeds these liberals, these left liberals, this whole narrative about Donald Trump and his movement, and that's all she does. In fact, there was a recent report in Axios that the Biden White House is thinking about integrating the top influencers online who are loyalists to the Democratic Party in the White House, so they can actually work from the White House or have an open channel to the White House. And she's one of the people, the top person, in fact.
Yeah, just like me, Glenn. Thanks, dog. Just like me, a loyalist to the DNC who has an open line of communication to the White House. Bro, the White House went to Twitch to bring on Anthony Fauci onto this platform. Okay? Anthony Fauci was doing the rounds. Remember when he was like trying to urge people to go vaccinate and whatever? Who's the largest fucking news content creator on Twitch? I am, right? The White House personally told Twitch that Anthony Fauci would not be appearing on my broadcast. Okay? I would have loved to have Anthony Fauci on my broadcast. I'm very, very, very pro vaccination. He's trying to make this point while broadcasting from a site that serves as a landing pad for every neo-Nazi or sex offender or both that got Omega canceled off of every other platform. He is one of the only people on Rumble that can still even tweet. Yeah. So just remember, the 5th guy on that list is literally a COVID misinformation guy. Yeah, I know. It is such a laughably stupid argument to make. It is such a laughably stupid argument to make by Glenn. This entire tirade proves that he's a total fucking fraud. The phrase left liberal is a total nonsense term. There's literally tens of billions of dollars for the right wing, which includes neoliberals in the Democratic Party. Yeah. Like, insane. And I can't tell if he's because he's a boomer and totally out of touch, or if he's like super, super angry, feels personally offended. Like, liberal mainstream media never gave him the time of day when he was actually being harassed by the Bolsonaro government. While they got to fucking run around and say how brave they are because they were saying Orange Man bad or whatever. I think it's a bit vitriolic. I think it's a bit like his own personal anger. He just feels very angry. And that anger has blinded him from making like good commentary on the issue. So, I mean, I don't know. But this is like a laughably pathetic attempt at doing any kind of like serious commentary. And of course, I also called it, he didn't use the redistributive policies. Socialism is when you redistribute your wealth or anything like that. He didn't use any of that shit because, if he had, then all of his like right-wing audience that does believe charity is socialism. Yeah. You ever get a Soros check? It literally doesn't exist for actual leftists. Anything we have is 100% organic from regular people watching us. It doesn't even claim to be on the left and never did. Yeah.
Who they named. She's making millions of dollars a year doing this.